Here, what up, party people? It's Hakeem Green, channel live and direct. BDP all day, every day. All we do is spark, mad, ism. Yeah, there we go. Right now, I'm burning some Gorilla Glue number 4. It's a good strain right there. It's a good solid strain. I love it. Kind of feeling it. Yeah, so like I was saying, this is Hakeem Green, channel live and direct. BDP all day, every day. All we do, spark madism on the Madism TV platform. And it's been a wonderful time doing this show. We have some incredible interviews, in depth. We always try to highlight the culture. We always try to highlight, what was going on in hip hop through the journey of our guests, the different guests that we have on. They all have a unique experience with hip hop culture. So I try to bring that out in the conversation, as well as get to know the person as an individual, just understand how they came up and engaged in hip hop culture. It's important. Over here at Madism, where we talk about weed, yeah, it's about weed, but it's about the culture more than anything else, be it cannabis culture or hip hop culture. We try to deal with the culture. It's episode 22. And this episode specifically is going to really dig into the culture, the early parts of the culture. Like always, we go back and path. But specifically this episode with the homie GUY ROUTTE, who's a music industry executive, an artist, consultant. He's just someone who's ingrained in the culture. He's from Staten Island, but he came up with a lot of the early Brooklyn / Staten Island MCs, Audio 2, MC Light, just that whole movement early on. And then he had a group himself that was like a hip hop rock kind of hybrid, and he was doing something, really, really phenomenal. And I think that's Future Shock, if I got that right. Future Shock. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Get into how that experience kind of helped him on the other side of hip hop culture, from the business aspect of it, and developing artists, everybody from Family Stan to Raphael Sadiq, and of course Pharoah Monch, who's been managing through War Media Entertainment, which is their company, for a decade or two now, right? We'll find all that out when he gets here. Still waiting for him to pop in. He told me he was going to be running behind schedule. He was traveling. I told him I'm more than equipped, to keep the conversation going, pop some shit, talk my talk. I do have a lot to talk about. That was kind of fresh, right? When I blew the smoke and it kind of pixelated. See that shit? That's just kind of fresh, right? Sparking madism. Let me get my camera right, though. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. Yeah, it's much better. Milk D! Come on, son. God, I just blew up. Madism TV just blew the fuck up. We got the almighty Milk D stated on the way. You know what I mean? Damn. Salute, OG. Appreciate you checking in. Guy hasn't entered the building yet, so we're waiting on Guy. But while we do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up some music. It's a new single that I released, The Cypher, featuring KRS-One, produced by Ron Amin-Ra Lawrence. We're going to run with that for a couple minutes. I'm going to invite some people to the building, send the link out in my social media network so we can get a lively chat room going. We can get some folks commenting, what have you. Milk, I'm so glad you decided to join us, bro. You know, I know it's family. I was just telling about Guy's roots in Staten Island and, you know, the whole Brooklyn Staten Island connection, but, you know, he'll get into all that when he gets here. In the meantime, in between time, I'm going to play The Cypher by myself featuring KRS-One, produced by Ron Amin, Rod Lawrence. Big shout out to Domingo from Media Famous. That's how it was coming out to the people. And yeah, it's what we're going to do right now. Boom.
This stuff is really fresh. Hey,
It's called The Cypher.
Hey, yo, what is a cypher?
What's a short? It's called The Cypher. Yo, it's called The Cypher. We can build with the short. The cypher is a circle with all points connected, where you get your boogie off and the weak get disrespected. The cypher is so sacred, takes place on hollow ground. B-boys seek the battle on a mission to follow town. Beatbox DJ banging on the table is the way we settle beef since the days of Cain and Abel. Ask Pop Master Fable, the jams at DMC, with DJs battle for world supremacy. The cypher's not always round, but always on the square. Breakers be on the ground, but I'm gonna put the weed in the air. The cypher's like the wheels of steel and scratching makes me itch. I get hyper with the lyrical skills when the DJ catch my pitch. When the fader's being switched, everything live in the mix, but still off the cut like I wear it on my wrist.
What is a cypher? What is a cypher?
The cypher, the cryptic writer, the mind igniter. I'm a rhymer designer, a line after line of rhymer. See, I'm an 80s rhymer, the crazy kinda you can't phase me rhymer. I write raw shit like I'm writing on baby diapers. I blaze these ciphers with basic shit. Savage, I'm one that killed for 8 type shit. Hit after hit, all classics, spit in the grit. You talk that hickory dick, you getting lickety split. This what you get, you ain't taking nothing from me. The goat that steps to KRS is the goat that's getting curried. Brain matter, I'm the original face slapper. It's been so many years, you must have forgot we used to chase rappers. Now I'm bust on these nappy-headed hoes, I must. You ain't bad boy, talk big, get your eye popped. That fake shit's not us, you know how fresh Chris is. Career killer, I write death sentences.
Hey, yo, what is a cypher? Hey, yo, what is a cypher? What is a cypher? What is a cypher?
We can build a cypher with the short. Time is of the essence, every breath another second. I'm down by martial law, fighting through the game like Tekken. I ain't got no weapon when I camel walk like Johnny. Ringing bells when I rock the mic is poison like I'm Ronnie. Bob and weave through the dish and pull off in a new edition. Rapping is fundamental, whack MCs be steady riffing. I just stay in my lane when I'm on a scout like Kiffin. Looking for volunteers when there's a drought, I'm in the kitchen. Cooking up some special treats, not talking trout when I'm fishing. I cruise through a hunt with heavy clout when I'm on a mission. I'm special with the verse, every line in education. While I wrestle with the verse, I rhyme in meditation. Standing on one leg, balanced on the lotus, but still packed an eye for judgmental niggas who ain't the SCOTUS. You can roll with this when you done past the lighter. Rhymes going counterclockwise around the cypher.
What is a cypher? What is a cypher? What is a cypher?
That's The Cypher by Hakeem Green featuring KRS-One. Produced by Ron Amin, Rod Lawrence. Scratches by my man PP Armstrong, aka DJ Nasty. And you know, that song The Cypher is off my upcoming album Aubrey. I'm looking at a July release for the album. And it is a tribute to 70s, 80s hip hop. That's the sound, that's the feeling, that the concepts, the feel. The cypher, of course, got KRS-One on there. You gotta have a cypher. You gotta have KRS-One. I mean, on the cypher. And scratches, DJ Nasty, aka PP Armstrong, on the 1 and 2s. You know, this album is going to be very, you know, hip hop culture focused, not rapping. Yeah, of course I'm rhyming on it. I'm rapping, I'm spitting bars, of course. But, you know, we're trying to represent the culture. So the concepts, themes, samples, break beats, just that feel, 1982, 1983, what would it feel like? What would it sound like? What the slang terms that we're saying, the way we dress. I want people to feel immersed in that, like just dripping with fucking 1983 on a nigga. You know what I mean? I want to represent the culture, you know, and I'm just, you know, wasting time at this point, or I say better yet, not wasting time, using the time while we wait for Guy to pop in the building. But yeah, that's what we're talking about, man. It's, you know, the culture. I have this hashtag that I use called hip hop nobody rapping, hashtag hip hop nobody rapping, where I like to, you know, highlight different parts of the culture where there's nobody rapping. You know, it's hip hop. It's definitely hip hop. You know, you might hear beats or you might not hear beats. You might see people throwing up, you know, the top to bottom, a burner. You know what I mean? You might see, you know, somebody beatboxing. You might see somebody, you know, just the way they dress, the way they styled out, the way they just represent, and you just know it's hip hop, but ain't nobody rapping. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, we need to start highlighting the other parts of the culture that have been holding the culture down for all these years. For instance, breakdance is going to be in the Olympics in 2024. Over in Paris, the next Olympics, 2024, breakdancing is going to be an official event in the Olympics. First year. It's historic. Fucking historic out this motherfucker. However, we don't really control the set like we need to be controlling the set. We're not even controlling. I mean, control is a bad word. We're not influencing the set like we need to be influencing the set. You know what I mean? We got into other things, and now the world has embraced this culture, and we're not really influencing the set like we need to be influencing the set. And that's a problem, you know what I mean? And you know, you talk to the break dancers and they're like, man, nobody makes music for us anymore. We got to keep going back to the 70s and the 80s because nobody's making music for us. And I'm like, man, there's a whole bunch of people around the world, worldwide, who like breakdancing. You see South America, Asia, Europe, Africa, America. And these jokers is breakdancing. Cats is on the floor doing they 1 and 2. They getting it in, they pop locking, they boogieing. But we're not paying attention to that. So, you know, I figure I would, you know, create something that would, you know, another form of hip hop that we don't really speak about. We all know about the DJ. Hip hop don't exist without the DJ. The DJ is the one who gets to get it going, right? The DJ. Big shout out to Christy Z, the DMC. You know, we have the battle for world supremacy. You know, you gotta respect that, because you got DJs from all around the world who participate in these battles, you know, under the DMC umbrella. They compete year in, year out. This is annually, been going on for years, not to mention the park jams that go down uptown, Harlem, Bronx, all around the city. Tools of War, they take these different park jams around and get it back to the essence. And people come out, people come and support, but not like we need people to come out and support. Not like, not the kind of attention that, you know, just shows that the culture is vibrant. You know, just it is, but we want to highlight that just more often. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's what that's about. The album is Aubrey. It should be dropping sometime in July. I got a joint on there called Old School Head. I got a joint on there called Culture Freedom. I have a joint on there called Took a Test. I have a joint called Niggonometry. Smack. Missing something. Missing a few joints. But it's Aubrey is the name of the album, and it should be dropping in July. The single that I'm working right now off that project is called The Cypher, featuring KRS-One. And it's entirely produced by Amon Ra Lawrence and myself. Ron has just been just lacing me with some phenomenal tracks. Just giving me every bit of, the just the legacy that he's already created for himself. Grammy Award winning, multi-platinum producer, produced for Biggie, Faith, Jay-Z, list goes on. You should look him up. Ron Lawrence. He's producing the album, and we got some good work. And so yeah, that's that. Again, I'm just chewing up time, using time, because I'm waiting for the homie Guy ROUTTE to hop in the building. This interview is really for him. Episode 22, culturalism, and we're gonna get into the culture. We just gonna find out about Guy and his life, where he's from, just the cultural impact of hip hop when he first touched down with it, and then his involvement in the culture and in the business as he moved forward. Notice I made distinction between culture and business, right? It's two different things. It's two entirely different things. When we say the culture, there's this whole thing over here that's not about the business of rap music or the business of hip hop. So we have to understand that. We'll get more into that conversation when Guy finally joins us. But while we're using time wisely, I want to play another joint. This is called I Believe, Put It in the Air, produced by DJ Heron. This song is off the Madism Who Want This Smoke album, which I dropped last year on 420. Again, this is I Believe, Put It in the Air, featuring Carl Thomas, produced by DJ Heron. And we're going to get into it like this. And while this is playing, please, guys, share the link, invite people to the conversation. Guy's on his way, and we're going to get it kicking in a few.
Social distancing and other mitigation measures they've put in place. The president's been itching to begin easing the nationwide guidelines meant to stem the outbreak and contain the economic fallout. Well, the weekly jobless numbers are out, and they are a staggering show of the early impact of the new coronavirus on the economy. Around 3.3 million people filed for unemployment in the past week, far exceeding the previous record from 1982.
This goes out that I will use my right or the right all my smokers, my dabblers, that I'll choose my papers for the right to be free. Set up that hookah. I'm treated tonight like it's 420.
Madism in effect, hip hop changed the game. Everybody smoke good, my grower changed the strain. I used to smoke for the thrill, now I do it for the pain. I stay pushing weight, I do it for the gains. It's like a revolution, Prince with purple rain. Purple kush, purple haze, like cheese in a maze. So I put lights in the tunnel, LEDs supply the rays. All we do is spark madism, that shit is all the craze. Remember back in the days, trade bags of haze from the corner bodega. Poppy put it in some lays. It was rhymes in a cipher with blunts in the air. Then off with a shorty couch locked in a chair. My shorty look exotic, weed kinda rare. She said the weed was erotic with smoke in the hair. Ism makes the time go by, life without a care. So roll it up, light it up, put it in the air.
I believe in happy faces, yes, this is true. Love is just for special people, yes, just like you. If you're reaching for the stars, you know you can do anything you want to if you just get into. Then I believe that I will use my right or the right to be me. I believe that I'll choose this fight for the right to be free. I believe I'll treat tonight like it's 420.
I get redder than red men when it's time to Johnny Blaze. I get pounds from Sugar Hill, I get dimes from Sugar Rays. I keep the aromatic, it's a passion, not a habit. Akeem go with green, it's like carrots go with rabbits. It's so automatic how the weed gets lit. Duplicate the seed, Clones get clipped. Hawk, what you puffin' on? I know that ain't the piff. Wedding cake and gelato, wanna lit? I got flavors, pump flavors. They call me Flavor Flav. Gorilla Glue #4 and Super Silver Haze. Afghani in the cough, sour diesel gets me off. I'm looking for a rental property, something like a loft, so I can grow these trees just in time for Christmas. Saint Nick with the gift list. I know you wanna hit this. Look for madism when it's time to light a flare. Then roll it up, light it up, put it in the air.
I believe in happy faces, yes, this is true. Love is just for special people, yes, just like you. If you're reaching for the stars, you know you can do anything you want to if you just get into the groove. I believe that I will use my right for the right to be me. I believe that I'll choose this fight for the right to be free. I believe I'll treat you like it's 420, like it's 420. Oh, 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 oh. Yes, this is true.
What really stands out to many are the one-time direct payments from the government. The Trump administration says they hope to start rolling them out in 3 weeks. The payments are based on your latest tax filing. Individuals who earn $75,000 or less will get $1,200.
It's the God, it's the God, it's the God, it's the God, it's the God.
What's up, brother?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Guy ROUTTE.
What's up, brother?
Oh,
Can you
brother.
hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, live and direct. You sound great. Yeah,
Okay, good, good.
it's all good.
So sorry for the delay. Sorry for the
Nah, it's all good. We was kicking it. Milk D's in the building.
Milk.
Yeah, man. You know, yeah. So,
That song is so good. Join with you and Carl
yeah.
makes me want to I'm like wondering maybe I should really get into this weed thing. That's how good that
This
song
is a commercial. This is a big commercial for the whole movement. We see what's going on around the country. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. New York, New Jersey. You know, it's a good time. It's a good time. Yeah, bro. So yeah,
I made it to the big time. I'm on the bad end, right? Okay.
Bro, man, please. Let me tell you. This guy right here, he's one of the most down to earth, well connected, but down to earth individuals in the game.
I appreciate
Extremely helpful. Whenever I got a question, he usually has an answer, or at least a direction to what the answer may or may not be.
Yeah.
And still sharp and still with this guy. We keep the blades going. If you know what I mean. Yeah.
Listen, man. If you get to this age and you ain't got no wisdom, then you're doing something wrong, right? So
That's real. That's real.
I hope I have a little something to add to the world, to add to the planet.
Well, let's find out. So, all right. So, where you from originally?
Staten Island, New York, West Brighton to be exact, the Market Homes to be specific.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're 70s baby like myself. We came up in the 70s.
Actually, late 60s.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I ain't want to blow you up totally, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's all good, right?
Out of my age, man. You kidding?
I say it every day. I'm so glad I'm 52. It's like every day. I'm glad I'm my age. Yeah, we see the good time too.
Especially in a time where we seeing cats go. You know what I mean? Like every day on this earth, I'm like, yo, man. And it's funny because when I was young, I never saw myself past 30, but not in a tragedy way. I didn't, I just didn't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my brother was murdered when he was 27. And so, I just wanted to get to 27.
Well, how excuse me, and rest in peace to your brother.
Yeah,
sorry, I never knew that about you.
Yeah, so when I got to 28, it was like, oh, okay, I better start paying attention.
But how old were you when he was murdered?
I was 24 when he was murdered.
Okay. Oh wow.
24, 25. I was probably either 24, 25.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember the time of year it was, but I know I was working with Shaheem, so I was on the road with Shaheem when it happened. I was at BET premiering Shaheem's new video.
Damn. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah. So I'm happy to be,
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the 70s in Staten Island.
Yes.
Right. When we think of Staten Island, of course, we think of something that's distant, something that's foreign, something that's like kind of off
The
to itself.
slums of Shaolin, right?
The slums of Shaolin. Right now, I went to school on Staten. I went to Wagner. That's where we met. That's where we first met. But I want you to, really describe for the people Staten Island in the 70s, because New York City, we know New York City, but Staten Island kind of is its own thing and is disconnected, so it has its own place. So yeah,
Staten Island has its own identity. It's the only borough in New York out of the 5 boroughs that's Republican. It's the least populated, but the second most land mass. It's a big place, a lot of swampland. Used to be where the dump was. Italian, Jewish, Irish, Black, Boricua, most of the Black folks are on the North Shore, Park Hill, Stapleton, New Brighton, West Brighton, Manus Harbor, Arlington, Port Richmond. That's, and then white folks, just like everything else, ran white flight out to the other side of the island. As they say, when they made that bridge. In the late 70s and early 80s in Staten Island, it was straight up race wars. It was like the 60s everywhere else, you know what I mean? Because they were busing kids to schools, and it was hectic. But my childhood was great. I lived in the projects. I lived in Markham Homes. Later, we turned Markham Gardens. But like it was flavor to me. I loved it until. Yeah,
you was poor, but then you was poor, but you didn't know you was poor.
I didn't know. I had no idea I was poor, especially because I lived in our projects was like down south. There was like townhouses, so I had an upstairs, downstairs, front yard, backyard. You know what I'm saying? I had a clothesline. You know what I mean? So I was like,
right.
I remember thinking, I just want to grow up and get a crib here and stay here around all my family and all my friends, and it was very, everybody's a cousin out there and everybody's family. So
you said, and then crack hit.
And then crack decimated a lot of the community and turned cousins into rivals and into enemies and into killers, Yeah. And the height of that moment, I was in high school, and I was going to high school in Manhattan. I went to Murray Bertram. And
hold on 1 second. Hold that point. You went to school in Manhattan.
Yes.
How'd you get there?
I took the ferry.
Please explain to the people, because that's a whole nother. I lived on Staten Island for 2 years.
Yes, so you understand
the ferry. So yeah.
I took the bus to the ferry, half-hour boat ride, and then I took the bus from the ferry to Bertram. And interestingly enough, Milk D's in here. That's how I met Milk. I met Milk on the ferry. He used to go to Brooklyn Tech. Milk, when he started high school, I believe he moved to Staten Island to live with his father. And his father lived in Park Hill. And shout out to Nat Robinson. And so Milk used to take the ferry to go to Brooklyn Tech. I was taking the ferry to go to Bertram. And that's where we met. And he used to rhyme and stuff. And we figured out that he was an MC and I was into music, and we used to sit on the boat and talk stuff. And we was both always late. So that's how we connected. And I've been my brother since then, man.
All right. So before you go on, right? Because I know we got it. There's a point we're holding. So I want to hold that point.
Okay.
Right?
It's fine.
But because you're on the ferry,
yes, we
got to talk about the Force MDs.
Yes.
And because you brought him up, we really need to talk about Nat Robinson and his importance to this whole thing.
Force MDs were the Force MCs back then. So start there.
Come on, let's go. Yes.
Everybody, anybody my age or younger, or even a little older that has any kind of music career or music situation from Staten Island that's black or minority owes a debt to the Force MCs / Force MDs. They were the most, dynamic, brilliant MC group / R&B group, and they're the ones that let us know it's possible and it's real. And like I said, because Staten Island is small and because Staten Island is everybody's cousins, we all knew them. This is our crew, this is our fam. And so, any chance to make me believe that I couldn't be in this business was shattered once the Force MDs became, put out "Let Me Love You" on Tommy Boy. That was it. Plus, early on they was going to Harlem World and they was battling Cold Crush and they was doing, it just amazing,
Like,
amazing things.
they're battling Cold Crush. This is late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Then they've already have a history of being on the ferry singing. Like, you know, where
And
everybody
then on
knows
42nd Street.
42nd, I would say New York City, period. People come all over the world just coming to see the street performers. And the Force MCs were like legendary, like way before niggas was making
Michael
records.
Jackson and James Brown and singing and rapping and freestyling, Stevie D freestyling up to, you know, those cats raised me, period, end of story, and were always gracious enough that no matter where they went, they took us with them. You know, we rolled with them. And you know, I used to spend my high school summers on tour buses going to New Edition concerts with the Force. You know, that's how, you know, insane my life was because of these cats. So
right.
Big up to them. And then Nat Robinson, president and CEO, First Priority Music, put out Audio 2, MC Light, Positive K, on and on and on. Manager extraordinary film, you know, still doing it. Nat was my manager when I was an artist. I became an artist as well. Okay. And he was the first person that I saw. Actually, Bob Lundy, the Force MD's father, was the first person I saw that was actually, you know, doing business as opposed to being an artist. But Nat Robinson was like my true mentor in terms of the business side. You know, I watched him and I watched how he moved and, you know, the way he made things happen. So I call him D still. He's like a father figure to me as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, okay, so now we're in high school.
Yep. Bertram.
Yeah.
Bertram
And that's the school that when you so if I'm coming from Brooklyn,
yep,
it's right there. What's that,
off
under
the bridge, yeah,
off the Brooklyn Bridge? Like, that's a great piece of architectural work right there, by the way.
Yeah, and it was in the Wall Street district, you know, yet across the street from the Smith Projects. So it was like business and hood at the same time. And interesting enough, I had a lot of connects with the cats in the Smith Projects because of my brother. So when I went to school, I was good, you know, because when you first go to school, you're from Staten Island, cats is testing you, you know what I mean? The guards from Brooklyn was like looking at my Pumas, you know,
wow.
And I just had to make a call over to Smith Projects and my crew was there and I was good money. And from that moment on, I was straight Bertram.
That's crazy. You said Milk went there and some other famous folks.
Milk went to Brooklyn.
I'm sorry, he went to Brooklyn Tech, but y'all used to catch the ferry together. Yeah, right, exactly. But there's some other famous folks that went to that high school.
Mike G from the Jungle Brothers was there. My brother used to roll with Red, so he'd be like, "My nephew's in school with you." I think he was in a grade below me, and then Tip and Ali Shaheed Muhammad from Tribe Called Quest went there, and they were I think they were 2 years behind me.
Wow.
And Kiana Mayo,
writer. Yeah, writer. Yep. Big shout out to her. Yeah.
You know who went there? I just found out too. Back in the day, John Leguizamo went there. But I did this film. I did the music supervision for this film, 40-year-old version, and Ryder Blank went to.
Wow.
You know, she was in a lower class than me, but yeah, she went to Bertram as well. So.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it's like, I've heard through the grapevine that high school has a deep history with producing, you know, some celebrities and famous folks.
It's not an art. It's not like music and art or art and design or nothing. It was a business school. I took computer science. It wasn't.
Wow, it's crazy.
Program.
Crazy.
It's just where hip hop was in that moment, man. We was all hip hop. You know?
Now, all right. So I'm glad you said that, because, you know, the distinction as to what hip hop is, aside from the music, like the culture, like our parents and older brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles was doing something, and then we came with something totally different that they was like, them kids, right. And then it was not just about the music though. It was so getting to like some of that, because you went to this high school that was a business school, but it's still producing creative people.
Oh man,
because the culture, the city was just that.
And like I say, you know, because a lot of what hip hop came out of was, you know, the poor, you know, underclass, you know, figuring this out. Bertram was across from the project, so them cats in the Smith projects were all graffiti artists. It was break dancing, you know what I mean? Outside the school, it'd be the cats pull out the box, lay down the linoleum, and you know what I'm saying? And it's on. And so it was always it was this creative outlet. You know, I think that hip hop gets equated to music because music is the thing that grew the biggest, you know, from the culture, you know, and then ultimately the rapper. First with the DJ, and the DJ is the thing that brought it around, and the rapper, you know, spread the message. But people forget about the dancing, and people forget about the art aspect of it. It's a full cult, and then the lifestyle, the fashion, you know, what we wore, how we wore it. You know what I mean? The reason I'm still wearing these right now is hip hop.
I was waiting to the end of the show to even say that, but don't even say nothing right now because people don't really understand. Everybody think gazelles and nah. Don't even. I was gonna wait to the end of the show, but we can get in that. You know,
I always tell people, I said I'm so hip hop. Like hip hop, first and foremost, is in everything that I do, even when you don't realize it. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, and it's as culturally important to me as, you know, Islam is to somebody. You know what I mean? Seriously, like that's, you know, for real, and I don't mean that facetiously. You know, hip hop is religious to me. It's that. That's how it saved my life. Period. End the conversation. So, you know, and it's taken me around the world 7 times. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm sitting in, you know, New Zealand or Melbourne, Australia, Cape Town, South Africa. It's only because of hip hop. You know, it's only because of hip hop.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, high school. You know, you're out of high school, and then what's happening in your life, you know, after high school?
I graduated high school, and it's funny because I got into the time in the 80s when you if you was black and you got a certain SAT score, no matter what your grade point at, because I sucked in high school. My grade point average was just passing 67 or something like that. But I got, you know, well over 1,000 on SAT, and if you got over 1,000 on SAT, you got a scholarship to any, not any, but you were likely to get a scholarship to any HBCU. So I got into Morehouse and I got into Howard, and with the you know, caveat that I had to maintain a B average and it would get paid for, you know. And so my mother was like, "You going to Morehouse?" You know, and she was like, "Dr. King went to Morehouse. You're going to Morehouse. That's it." And I'm like, I can't leave New York City in 1985. No, I'm not leaving. Are you kidding me? It's like hip hop. I'm like in the middle of it. My boys are signed to Tommy Boy Records. They got a hit record. You know what I mean? I'm rolling around with the rock band Living Color, who is not signed yet, but they're doing shows. Mick Jagger's coming to their shows.
Wow, you go back that far with them?
Yeah, that's how far I go back to.
80,
I was 15. I was rolling with Corey.
Wow.
I'm hanging with Milk. Top Billing is, you know, we're in the Latin Quarter. Like, I can't leave New York. And you know, and remember, Atlanta wasn't Atlanta now. Atlanta back then was, you know, it wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
I'm in the epicenter of the most important cultural movement in generations, right?
All right. So just
my sister's an art design, hanging out with all the graffiti artists. I'm on the bench with K-Slade when he was Dez and KRS, and you know, come on, B. I can't. No.
I can't. Let me just some context for people, because people sometimes get things misconstrued and don't understand what exactly is taking place, right?
Okay.
Like in 2021,
with
technology, transportation, everything is small, right? Everything is small. Everybody is reachable. Everybody is tangible.
Yeah.
In 1983, 84, 85, if you was in Atlanta, you might as well been in Zimbabwe.
For me,
if you're in Atlanta and somebody say New York, you might as well be in
Alaska.
It's not, the culture is so different.
It's so different.
And it's a bubble. So, and nobody can see outside their bubble, and there's no reason to see outside the bubble.
And what you got to realize too, we're talking about rap still not being played on the radio. We still listen to WHBI to hear our hip hop.
Right, it's late night,
3 a.m. You know.
Right. You go to Atlanta and play hip hop, they're looking at you like you're crazy.
This is what I'm saying. So I was like, and then I wouldn't even go to DC. I wasn't even going to Howard. I'm like, I got to be here in New York. I got to be in New York because I knew it, and I never felt anything like what I was feeling. My brother and his crew. My brother used to be in this breakdance crew called the Fresh Style Rockers with my man Frost, who ended up being my partner in my group that got signed. So Frost, my boy Mecca D, rest dead, and my cousin Shun, and they was in this crew, Fresh Style. I think Vinny Giles, my man Kid Thriller from Staten Island, they were all in this group, Fresh Style Rockers, and they traveled the world breakdancing while I was in high school. They was in Japan. They was going to play like breakdancing. I'm gonna leave New York. I can't
break dancing, not
do it, man.
Rapping. They going around the world.
Yeah.
We understand that the culture is so much deeper than. Yeah, we love MCs. I'm an MC. I love MCing. I love rapping.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't get it twisted. I do love it, but it's so much more.
But there's something about b-boying, about really being a b-boy, man. There's something about, listen, man. When Wild Style came out, I was on 42nd Street checking, come on, B. Like, seriously, I had to go to the 7 o'clock show because I was too young to be in that 9 o'clock show that was going to get shot up. You know what I'm saying?
And then 42nd Street.
And only could go because Stevie D and Force and D's and them cats took me.
Do you understand? 42nd Street is like going to Amsterdam.
Seriously.
Like, you're 15.
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
You're going to New York City Times Square. That's just poured out, tits and ass everywhere.
Listen,
like
pimps on the street.
Like pimps on the street. Drug dealers is hustling. It's just gritty, grimy.
For real.
It's like if you ever see the movie Gloria, the first movie Gloria. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's Wild Style. It really really is.
Yeah.
New York was just a thing, man. God damn, it was a thing.
And then I'm at the time, I'm going, and I thought about this the other day, and I'm like, how was they letting me into these places? But I was going to Funhouse, I was going to 1018 Roxy, depending on which day of the week it was.
Yo, talk about the Funhouse, man. Talk about the Funhouse. Talk about.
Yo, listen, Funhouse. I'm gonna tell you a couple of things I seen at the Funhouse. Utterly amazing, right? This is the beauty of getting older. You got these stories. I saw Madonna at the Funhouse do Holiday.
Wow.
Right? Jelly Bean Benitez night. I saw the first Run DMC show when they had. Now it might not have been the first show they did. The first show they did in Manhattan. They said first time they ever played Manhattan. They played the Funhouse. Sucker MC was out. Nobody knew what they looked like.
Yeah, I wasn't that.
They had to walk in with the cover of the single to prove it was them. They had no idea what they looked like. They did 2 songs. They did It's Like That, Sucker MC to the left. Yo, B. I remember who was it?
The greatest rap group ever.
Yeah,
them in Public Enemy.
Listen,
one A, I was one A, 1B. I only get it that way. That's a little. But goddamn, Run DMC.
Invented swag. Wasn't just invented swagger, right? And the most important for me because they took rap and they took it from disco to beats to the rhymes. They took it from disco and the way cats was wearing Webo belts and to Adidas
fly leathers, Godfathers, Adidas no laces.
And listen, man, and you talking about just swag, like forget about it, man. You want to talk about want to be somebody? I wanted to beat him. Like I was at the Funhouse when the Disco 3 changed their name to the Fat Boys.
Fat Boys.
The name changing party.
Rest in peace, Prince Marquis D.
Prince Marky D.
Rest in peace, Buffy. Big Buff.
Rest in peace, Buffy. Hold your head, Cool Rock.
Cool Rock is doing his thing.
Yeah.
I'm liking what he's doing right now.
At the Funhouse when they changed the name. Now,
Damn.
you got to get this picture. You got to walk from the train station through the projects.
Yeah, I know that.
To the Funhouse.
Yeah, I know that walk. Yeah.
And
I know that walk.
That was like, it was like,
yo, it was
easy to get Vicked. You know,
yeah,
that's how much we were feeling for this culture so much. I remember paying $15 for a cassette tape of Dougie and Slick doing Lottie Dottie at the Funhouse. I wasn't at the show, but I wanted the cassette.
I was there.
Oh.
I was there. But can I tell my? I know it's your interview, but I gotta tell the story.
No, go.
All right. It's a funny story. So, first time I ever went to New York City without my mother.
Okay.
All right. So I'm.
So you in EO at the time?
I live in East Orange,
yeah.
Right? But my cousins lived in Inglewood.
Okay.
So I spent Christmas with them in Inglewood, and then they snuck me over to the Funhouse, right? So it was Christmas '84. Crazy. I was 15. I was 15.
Yeah.
So we get off in Washington Heights, the double A train.
Yep, double A at the time. Yes, indeed.
Graffitis everywhere. Just the whole stereotype of that era is real. It's just train is graffiti.
Go look at the train
everywhere.
Coming to America, the first one.
Yeah,
and it gets on the train.
That shit look like, right? So we get off. We make a stop off in Washington Heights first to see a friend. I'm standing on the corner. The dude is on. It's like, Toya, get your cousin off the corner. Get your cousin off the. Yo, Hakeem, get off the corner. Get off the corner. You don't want to be standing on the corner of Washington Heights in 1984.
Man,
you don't want to stand on the corner. All right, so we leave there. We go to 42nd Street, right? We hook up with some other friends of my cousin.
Get a gyro.
So there was this kid there. His name was Bright Eyes. Mm-hmm. He had a money green sheepskin coat. He couldn't have been no older than 16, 17.
But he was the man if he was walking around.
He was the fucking man. He ran the whole shit.
Had to, because you wouldn't wear that coat.
Right. All right. So my cousin's friend, we hook up with him. He takes us to the Funhouse. Right. So I get there. They had these super duper bodyguard looking, these swole up niggas. Was like, what's the Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck when the nigga was swole up with it? Like, yo, these niggas was gorillas, Italian dudes, white dudes, black dudes. Yeah. Just was the biggest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. I'm 15 years old. I'm supposed to be 18 to get in.
At
right?
least, yeah.
They're never gonna let me in, right? Of course they let me in.
Did they tell you stay away from the bar?
Nah, I don't even. Yeah,
hey, stay away from the bar.
Yo, we go in. It's the mirrored shit going all the way down. You bust the left. You go inside the main room, and you look across and it's the clown face across the joint.
Yes,
which is the DJ booth. The clown face. The smile is the DJ booth.
Yeah.
Red alert.
Yeah.
And little Louis Vega. Right. I'm 15. I'm like. I'm in awe of everything. So I walk in.
So you got your house dude and your hip hop dude. Come on, big.
So I look over. There's this tall, skinny dude with a Jerry curl afro with some gazelles on. He got a blazer on, and he's doing the Steve Martin. First time I ever seen Steve Martin. He's doing Steve Martin, right? It's a circle around him, whatever. I'm like, damn, what is it? Rodney Allen, Rippy looking motherfucker with the Jerry curl afro and shit. That was Dougie Fresh, who would do Lottie Dottie later that night.
Oh my goodness.
Now, so they wrecked the shit down, did they thing. So later that night, some girl asked my cousin's friend to hold her coat. At the end of the night, she comes to get the coat. Where my $200?
Yeah.
She stole my $200.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck that nigga. You stole my $200. You stole my $200. He's like, get the fuck out of here, man. I ain't steal your $200. You told me hold your car, hold your coat. I gave your coat back. I got $200. You wildin'. All right, watch. You told my $200. So my cousin's like, Hakeem, come here. So I scramble and shit. We end up getting outside. It's brick outside. It's Christmas Eve. It's fucking brick.
Yeah.
Cold as fuck. I'm going somewhere with this story. We get outside. Some big dude got my cousin's friend by the throat and just is continuously punching him in the face. I was like, oh shit. So we did and hopped in a cab and broke out. Now, going to Wagner, heading to, this is years later, it's 15. Going to Wagner, I'm 18, 19. I'm 18, 19, something like that. I'm heading to Studio 54. Kill time, I stop off at Playland.
Mm-hmm.
Play some video games. You know what I mean? I'm playing a video game. I look over to the right, and there's a fucking bum. Like, nasty looking bum. Sitting in the phone booth with a raggedy ass money green sheepskin coat.
No, same dude?
Same dude.
Kept his coat though.
Ain't that some shit?
Insane.
42nd Street, Times Square, by the way.
Crazy. I spent some time in Jersey too. I used to go to, Zanzibar.
Whoa. Yeah.
Later on, I was in,
Talk about it.
Yeah, I did my Jersey run too because I'm from Staten Island. So Staten Island, Jersey it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? We used to go
Gothel's
to
Bridge,
College, hang out at King College all the time, and
Gothel's in the Outer Bridge.
Yeah, and so we always over to Gothel's, right? Hit King. We used to hit we stayed out of Newark for obvious reasons, but some Jersey city.
Well, you went to Sensations. You was right in the heart.
Yeah, but I'm saying we didn't go. We wasn't trying to get none of their girls because we knew that it was gonna be. Wow, I did do Jersey City occasionally. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah, that's right. Hop, skip, and a jump right there.
Elizabeth and all of that. So yeah, we definitely did a lot of Jersey.
And definitely did Wagner too.
Wagner, man, listen, man, that was like, that's our home college, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
We going up to I was like, oh, let's just do the school. He can dance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Got all his hair and he can do all the kid play shit.
I was definitely a kid fan, no doubt. I was a kid fan.
I don't even know how we met, but I know it was at one of them parties. And I was
it was one of the parties that, the joint, and, later on I would see you around and just, on a whole nother level. I was like, okay, this is that guy, literally.
A couple times out in East Orange, I would go out to East Orange for the Pro-Am games and stuff.
Okay, yeah, in Elmwood Park.
Yeah, and then I had my man Hollywood lived out there, and I used to go see him all the time. So it would just be like, reasons to show up, and then you was on the scene, I was on the scene. We was in the same places. So
yeah, yes sir. But talk about being an artist, bro. Like talk about the group, and because your partner was a breakdancer, right?
He was a breakdancer first and a graffiti artist. Like you always had to have at least two disciplines in the culture, right? Yeah. You had to. He was a dancer, a writer. He's an MC. He's a really dope MC. When we first got together, we was both like 14. And it's funny, our birthdays are like 2 days apart. We both 14. And we started as a rap group. We were MCing. We used to call ourselves the Tough Two. And,
okay.
And I heard him sing. And I was like, yo, you could really sing. And, so we started songwriting too. And we were like, strung out. We were very like real big on just groups like The System, and we were really big on like James Brown, the Family, but like this in the 80s we were on some System and Prince, Michael. Yeah. At the same time we're like, Soul Sonic Force and Run DMC, so we were mixing these cultures and then hanging out with Living Color and getting that energy. And so we were like really well-rounded musically. And so we just started writing songs and the group went through a couple of incarnations, and we had put a 12-inch out under this group called The Look. That wasn't with Frost, but that was with my man Raven Sear. And then,
and what years are we talking about?
That was 86,
See, early,
and
so
then,
early, bro, early.
And then I got with the guys from the Family Stand. Played them a demo. Played Sandra St. Victor from the Family Stand. I played her a demo. My sister was doing her hair, and I played her a demo that that me and Frost did, and she said she loved it. She took it to Peter Lord, Jeffrey Smith, and they signed us. This is 1988. They signed us. By the way, I went to Hunter College. I ended up going Hunter in New York.
Yeah.
So they signed us, and by 89, we had a record deal with Virgin Records. We were signed to Virgin Records, and under the group Aftershock. And it was, it was funny because it's just the same time. Like, so RZA is on Tommy Boy. He's doing Love You Rocky. Force and D's is they're on their their third album. They're on Lover's House. Touch and Go album.
You said RZA.
He was signed to Tommy Boy, Prince Rakeem. You know what I mean? And he had the ooh, we love you, Rakeem. You know, I'm just talking about Staten Island right now. This is Staten Island.
I'm just the context of what like they, you talking about the time period after seeing the documentary, to see that whole on Wu-Tang. To see what they were going through. Again, you're from Staten Island, and you have this thing going on, and you're right there. You're seeing it as it's going.
I remember it was funny because I was watching when they did the ooh, we love you, Rakeem. I saw him on the ferry, and he was like, "Yo, I'm shooting my video tomorrow. You should come through." You know what I mean? I didn't go, but I was like, yeah, because we were all connected. My brother and him were connected, and then I knew Meth. Long story, he was, he was in love with my homeboy's little sister, so I used to hang out with him because he's younger than me, and he used to catch the boat. He used to be working at the Statue of Liberty, and I worked there for 1 weekend because I couldn't take it after. I said, I'll never do this again. But he used to catch the boat, and he'd see me, and he would literally rhyme to me. 30-minute boat ride, he would rhyme, and I was like, "Yo, you're amazing. You're such an amazing MC." So he always credits me. He's like, "You saw what took many times to see."
Wow.
I'm like, "Yo, this kid,
it's crazy."
I never heard nothing like what he was spitting. And so, we all Staten Island Small. We all came up.
Damn.
All coming up around the same time. And then if you're doing things in the business, and at that time it's a big deal. This group from Staten Island, we got a major record. We're on Virgin Records. And they were making a real big deal about it, and we're getting a lot of press. Staten Island Advance did a story on us, and it was a lot going on. So we got signed and started making this album. And Nat Robinson was our manager, so we were rolling with First Priority. And it was dope, man. We put the first album out. It was cool. It was really well received. We didn't do no numbers, but it was really well received. And we were we were getting connected into these worlds. And so like at our showcase, Madonna was there and Paula Abdul was there. And, just when Madonna was going on the Vogue tour, and she was like, the presidents of Virgin used to be her managers. And so she would support, and Paula Abdul was like, just out of here. She was like, the biggest person on the label at the time. And I used to hang with Lenny Kravitz had just gotten signed to Virgin. And so he wasn't out yet, but they were like really
getting ready to
out it.
Yep.
And he had an apartment in the Village, and so anytime we was in the city, whatever, they'd be like, "Yo, go by Lenny's house."
1988, nigga, 89, nigga.
Yeah. And Maxie Priest was on Virgin, and Frankie Knuckles was on. We'd be at the Frankie Knuckles party, and he would. So we go to the party, and Lenny be like, "Oh," and Jazzy B be in town, they on Virgin, and it's like. And they'd be like, "Yo, let's go back to Lenny's house." And Lenny be like, "Yeah, come back to the crib and, smoke up or whatever." And it was amazing. Like, for me, it was like.
All right, so let me drop a little something. So this is 88, right? 89. 89. All right, so I'm at Wagner College about to transfer to Montclair State, right? And the New York City scene is like the thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like
center of the universe, yeah.
It's the center of the universe. period, point blank.
Yeah.
If you get access or a certain level of access, you just, you're special. At this point, I'm at the rope online. Guy is with the movement.
Yo.
Guy is the movement, is movement. Guys with the movement.
So
like,
I'm
what
so connected in this moment without even realizing it because I'm connected to so many worlds. You got to remember, 88 drops Culture Personality, right? This is my boy, so they going on tour.
That's right. This is.
I'm at the Steel Wheels tour at Shea Stadium, backstage, hanging. You know what I mean? That's my boys, right? Foursome D's got the #1 song of the country with "Love Is a House."
You grew up with these motherfuckers.
I'm at the Apollo at the Alexander O'Neal Foursome D's tour, right?
Oh shit!
Lil D, Audio 2, MC Light, blown. We in the Jettas, we rolling, right? So I'm like, my world is so diverse.
I'm so fanned out. At this point, I'm a fan. I'm like so in fandom. I'm like.
and then so let me put the other tool in. At the same time, one of my best friends, still one of my best friends to this day. I don't lose friends. I got friends for forever. He starts managing this producer RNS on Staten Island. And he starts really like getting RNS equipment and stuff. And he starts telling me about this kid RNS out of Staten. He's crazy. And he says, I need you to help me. You know what I mean? I'm like, cool. I started helping him. And RNS ends up producing the UMC's album with the Hots. And so I'm in the studio while UMC's is doing Blue Cheese and they doing, I'm connected with those cats.
Big shout out to NY Oil, aka Cool Kim.
Cool Kim.
And Haas, you know what I mean? Yeah. Shout out to them.
I was in a studio or at a show almost every day of the week. I was in because I loved being in the middle of it too. Like my brother Cross, he wouldn't go to anything. I act like whatever access being on Virgin got me, whatever access knowing these dudes got me, I used it to my fullest because I flowed around. I had a real understanding that this was special and this wasn't a normal thing for people. People didn't have the experience I had. It felt normal to me, but I understood the moment. I understood how incredible it was to be able to be in, CBGB's and Mick Jagger's there because he wants to sign Living Color. I just understood what that was. You know what I mean? Right.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was a point that I wanted to address was CBGB's, right? The role of punk rock.
Yeah.
Role of punk rock on hip hop culture, early hip hop culture. Like people kind of miss that piece.
Also, let me say this too. What you can't separate is downtown culture.
Thank you.
New York City, right? So you can't separate house, right? You can't separate punk. You can't separate gay culture. You know what I mean? Because the dance and the vibe of what's going on.
That's right.
And hip hop. And if you think about places like Pyramid and Area and CB's and all of that was happening, right? I remember being in, you go to, Area and it's 4 levels and, it's Run DMC on one floor and it's, Eddie Kendricks on another. You know what I mean? There was such a mash of
culture.
All of these
sounds,
subcultures were trying to find air, and they found it in these areas in New York City. And so it wouldn't be nothing for Russell and Rick and them to be down hanging out with, that's how they found the Beastie Boys, and that's how it's all connected. It wasn't as segregated as it is now.
And then you had the art scene that was the art scene still the art scene, the Fab Five Freddy's. You had the the Basquiat's, Keith Haring's.
I mean, and they all mixed in, and so they all hanging out, and then it's still like whatever cool Jody Watley's and Madonna's are hanging out, and everybody's trying to get this vibe and this energy. And if you was a cool enough kid, or if you was with the cool enough kid, you could slide in. And I bounce in between stuff. I'm in Palladium, and then I'm back in the Red Parrot, and then I'm back into area that, you know, I have my sister was so punk rocked out. She got me into all the punk rock shit easy, you know. That's how I know Corey and Living Color and those cats from them. And, you know, being able to just, I wanted to soak this information. This was my college. This was my education. I wanted to soak as much information as I could in. I wanted to be everywhere, and I wanted to see. It's why I don't want to go nowhere now. It's like I went everywhere I could go and be to soak this culture up. And I never looked at it as any. I felt like I was a disciple of hip hop, and that was my pass. That was my pass in to even stuff that wasn't hip hop. If I came in correctly as hip hop, they'd welcome me in.
Word is bond. Like it's the same experience, bro. I was supposed to go to school in Texas. I got accepted to Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. And at the last minute,
Texas at 87.
Man, listen, after being at the fun house, and then what happened was, you know, the fun house, my mom's wouldn't let me rock out like that. So I had to wait till I was like 17, 18 where I could start going. Fun house had closed and had reopened as Heartthrobs. Yeah. So I became a regular at Heartthrobs, and then I started going to Studio 54 when Heartthrobs closed.
So you was checking out all the
you already know
Expose and TKA.
Yeah. You see wife, right? Let's get caught early.
But it was over because of Tommy Boy. So Force of These is on Tommy Boy, and that's where I met Angel from TKA, and he's still one of my best friends to this day. I ended up putting him in my group. He ended up bringing me the group Goodfellas when I later became a manager. And people say, how did you get to Goodfellas? Angel from TKA brought his man with, and we put out Goodfellas, Sugar Honey Iced Tea record. So
crazy.
People don't even realize that was Angel from TKA.
Damn.
So, but yeah.
I was like, just so why you there? Like, I was a Heartthrob regular, bro. So TKA, Latin Rascals, Noel,
DVB,
Sapphire, Stevie B, all that. I was Expose, all that shit. I was I was deep in the mix, boy.
And then my group when we was really a pop R&B hip hop group. Like we kind of had it all. So my partners, Puerto Rican, and one of our biggest records off our first album. Was a ballad called "Going Through the Motions," and we did it in Spanish. Forget about it, man. I lived in Arizona and in the Bay Area.
Oh, Lord have mercy! Yes.
In 1990, I think we had. Well, I think it was "I Want to Sex You Up," Poison, and then our record was
nigga. Salute. Well, while we here, let's talk about that cross-cultural. Experience between black, brown, black people, Latino people, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, just that, you got Jamaicans, Haitians, Caribbeans, just that kind of melting pot that is New York City and how that kind of all mixes up to be what hip hop is.
It's amazing to me because it wasn't until I left New York did I ever distinguish it. It was, Puerto Ricans was just black people that spoke Spanish. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't register to me that it was any different because we all were in the exact same circumstance. My best friend who lived next to or right behind me was Puerto Rican, and and the family over there was Puerto Rican, and they was darker than me, and so I didn't see them all in the same project.
Right.
And they had it was I had also had a real understanding. My mother was a teacher, and so I had an understanding that this was, slavery and where people were dropped off on what island, and that was it.
Gotcha,
I also have cousins that live in Puerto Rico, so I never considered myself Puerto Rican, but my first cousins considered they're born and raised in Puerto Rico.
But you're Haitian.
No,
I always thought you were Haitian.
Routtte is and it's
French.
I just found this out not too long ago, but it's Nova Scotian, French Canadian.
It's Nova Scotian. Man, I had it all messed up. I always thought like Routtte, he must be Haitian.
It just made sense that it would be Haitian, but no, it's Nova Scotian. Yes, it's a French Canadian, and from slave trade people running away and going up to Nova Scotia. So that's where
it's all good.
That's where the name comes from on my father's side. And then my mom's people were all from like Newport News, Virginia. So we all just black folks that made that migration. But the I never looked at like the way Mexicans and blacks in LA are. It's like
it's tension.
So in hip hop, when I say hip hop is black, is created. I'm including Puerto Ricans and when I say Puerto Ricans, which is when I said it before, obviously I'm well versed now, but that meant Hondurans and
everybody, right? It's
Puerto Ricans,
everybody that's living under this oppressive regime of Western civilization.
I said Jamaicans, I meant Trinidadians and I didn't realize how offensive that was until I got older.
Oh my God, it
just was. So to me, it really came down to, haves and have-nots. Really, that's what it really came down to. So in terms of hip hop, it was a culture of the underclass. It was subculture, and so anybody that was participating in the subculture, and that's why nobody kicked a white dude out if he was there, if he was authentic and he was down, and if he could do whatever he was supposed to do, then he was down too. Particularly on the art side and the graffiti culture, you know what I mean? And so it was never that, you know what I mean? Which it's always the lie anyway, you know what I mean? We've always been more inclusive,
always
than upper cultures,
culture.
Subculture. We're like anybody that's living it truly and breathing what we're breathing is down. That it wasn't just skin that got you. When we was more mad at the R&B dudes that that wouldn't let us on the radio, what I'm saying, that wouldn't allow us into their spaces.
That's right.
That was looking at us crazy because we was wearing mock necks and British Walkers. You know what I mean? So it was so I think that for me, like when I think of my boy Frost, who's like still my brother to this day, he married my cousin. That's my family. When I think of him, I don't see any separation in us, culturally. We both hip hop. So that's what it is.
Yeah. So Aftershock.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you toured the world, right?
Yeah, we did our thing. We had a good run. Before our second album. So first album produced by the Family Stand, critical acclaim, didn't really sell much. But we put up, and then as we were recording the second album, and so here's the deal. At the second, so after Paula Abdul heard our album and she became cool with us, she got the Family Stand to produce her second album. So they produced like Rush and everything, and they, so we all kind of became tight. And at the same time, when Paula was about to release her record, Virgin signed Janet Jackson. And it was a huge rivalry between Paula and Janet. And I know y'all probably say, what the hell has got to do with me? But I'm going to tell you. So Virgin, to make up to Paula for, signing her rival, gave her a label called Captive Records. And decided that we would be the first group on Captive Records. So they were moving us from Virgin proper to Captive / Virgin. And the gift to us was we were going to go on the Paula Abdul tour to break our next album. You know what I mean? So
that's huge.
We put a song out called Whenever, which was another ballad that was trying to catch what Going Through the Motions had done. And we're going on tour with Paula Abdul. They had the little samplers with our face on it, us and MC Scat Cat or whatever. So we go on the road with Paula. We do the first 3 shows. I'm playing arenas, right? When playing the Miami Arena, and then we play wherever I can't remember the name of the spot in Atlanta where the Hawks used to play, and then we go to Cleveland. And at this point, they put Color Me Bad on the tour. I guess they're trying to get some ticket sales or whatever. And we were killing. We had great. As a matter of fact, my background dancers were Josie Harris and Leslie Peters on that tour. So first tour they ever went on, right?
Dude, bro, hold on. Josie Harris.
Yes.
And Leslie Segar.
Yeah. Well, my background dancers.
Yes, these are two of the most legendary dancers.
Listen, choreographed by Voodoo.
Rest in peace, Voodoo
Rest
Ray.
in peace. Voodoo was my original dancer. First shows I ever did, Voodoo and Kid Thriller from my brother's Fresh Style Rockers crew were our dancers. And he introduced us to Josie. And I had met, wrong. Great story. I'm in 1018 with Stevie D from the Foursome D's at Bow-Legged Lou's birthday party. And we meet Josie in 1018. Stevie's like trying to rap to Josie. We're hanging out with her. Turned out, at this point, I have a job. I'm working at
fucking
Municipal
legend.
Credit Union on Fulton Street, Fulton Ave in Manhattan, Fulton Street in Manhattan. And Josie working at Prudential down the block. So Josie and I used to have lunch once a week just to talk about our dreams. And I said, when we get on, because she's like, I love dancing. And she introduced me to Voodoo. My boyfriend is this great dancer, blah, 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 you know. And so when we got on, we grabbed up Josie and Voodoo.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, Voodoo Ray
Yes.
is how I met my wife.
See?
Yeah.
Small world.
Rest in peace, Voodoo Ray. Voodoo Ray forever.
Ray.
Yeah, like, you know, I've known Ray since 89, 90 in the clubs dancing. That's when I was doing my 1-2. You know, I was a dancer.
So, you know, I met Voodoo. Hey, Voodoo was just a beast. And because Josie's like, you like me dancing? I got everything from Ray. You got to meet Ray. And that's how we met Ray. But yeah, we took Leslie and Josie on tour with us. And so we were doing so well. We ended up
and Big Les. Hold on, I got it because
gotta make sure we say Big Les. I'm sorry.
Big Les from Living Single, the young lady who's dancing in the beginning, and she's in what else? She's in a slew of things.
She was what show did she have on BET? Was it Unreal or one of them shows? And she was Rap City for a while. And Big Les, man.
It's Big Les. So this guy, you know, Aftershock is the launching pad for, like, again, we talking about the cultural impact, hip hop, nobody rapping, even though you're involved in something, other things are taking place around you just because of the influence.
Let me tell you how ill my crew was, right? So here's my crew. When we did our showcase for Virgin and for Press, so we had our band. Milk D was my DJ for the showcase. He DJ'd, and Stevie D from the Foursome D same background for us. Like, just on some love, just on some, like, we want to make sure y'all straight. And yeah, so it was crazy. We flew him out to LA, and so we had man, listen, my life is crazy.
You know what I mean?
But
yes,
so
sir.
We went on tour with Paula. We got kicked off because we was kicking ass. And so we like, we ain't gonna be on your label then. And so we had to go back and we went back and we kind of were doing that album sonically to be on Captive, you know what I mean? And so we were kind of going a little more pop on it, you know. And then we decided, we scrapped a bunch of records and we just went back in. And you know, you can see Virgin, it wasn't really rocking with us that much. And we was like, let's just go into the lab. And Family Stand allowed us to produce a lot of the records ourselves. And I worked with Steve Silk Hurley on the joint.
Wow.
Crazy. And
crazy. And
we did our own album, and then we did this record, Slave to the Vibe, that Family Stand did for us. And Slave to the Vibe, when we did that record, we knew we had the joint. We had the single. And so like a year later, we came out with that. I think it was 1993. We came out with that single, that album. And we ended up getting a remix from Daryl James, I believe, is the remixer. And this record blew up. And the single also was on the Sliver soundtrack, which was
good move.
With what's her name? Sharon Stone and Billy Baldwin. And that was like Sharon Stone's movie right after Basic Instinct. So it was like, it was blown.
Yes, sir.
Went gold, single went gold. And then we had the remix, and the remix blew up in London, #1 song in London, and Top of the Pops. So we were supposed to do Top of the Pops. And at that moment, I decided I was quitting the group. and I didn't want to be an artist anymore. And so my partner went over and did Top of the Pops, but I didn't go. Now,
what
I remember
happened?
him saying to me, "Don't you want to get to London? You've never been to London before." And I'm like, "I'll get to London. I'll get on my terms." Yeah.
So what happened? What was it?
Little internal beef. It was minor, but I knew that if I stayed, it would have got major. Just between me and my partner, we just wasn't getting along, and I was like, I realized that it was less me and him than me, and I didn't like what was happening at Virgin. And now I'm thinking like a manager. I'm already managing Shaheem. I'm already, I'm shopping deals. I'm already doing this stuff, and I'm like, I don't like what's happening here. We weren't working with Nat anymore. And it was like all of the stuff. And a lot of those decisions weren't mine. And, I felt like my partner was feeling himself a little bit. And I was just like, all right, so here you go. It's yours.
You guys grew apart.
Yeah. And he went and did Top of the Pops, but then he hated the music business. So the minute I left, he was like, this shit's over. So,
damn.
So we ended the group, but I ended the group with, R&S found a young rapper named Shaheem from his building. I got Shaheem a record deal.
Well, how'd you meet Shaheem? From R&S,
but with UMC's,
right?
This was the artist he was working on, and
Got
so
you.
I went in and started co-managing R&S with my boy Wiggs, and we ended up managing Shaheem, and we got him, and we had a bidding war for him.
Wow.
You got to remember, this is right post Crisscross. Everybody wanted a young, Crisscross coming off 4 or 5 million records. They wanted a young rapper, but everybody loved the fact that this was like a hard New York version of them. And I had Benny Medina wanting to sign him to Warner Brothers. We had Ruben Rodriguez wanting to sign him to Pendulum at the same time.
What was the Wu-Tang connection, or was it ever a business?
RZA grew up in the same building. I mean, well, not grew up. RZA was grown, but
okay.
So he was technically Wu, but Wu wasn't Wu yet. They wasn't Wu yet. You know what I mean? Like they hadn't even done their record yet. You know what I mean? When I got him that deal.
Damn.
That deal was based on Crisscross. It wasn't based on Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Nobody hadn't even heard of Wu-Tang yet, except us. We knew them because Ghost was Sun God at the time. He was down with R&S and them, and Pop the Brown Horn and all them cats, Stapleton cats. Down Low Record, June Lover, all them cats was coming from that crew. Okay,
so because what you're doing is opening up a whole can of worms, but it's a good thing because Staten Island, you got again Shaheem, Pop the Brown Hornet, you got Wu-Tang, which is a whole bunch of individual acts. You got UMCs, you got King Just, you got Black Fist Movement. You got all this talent that's just bubbling right here on this this place that's kind of pushed to the side.
That happens though. That's what happened in Atlanta. They were marginalized, pushed to the side, and there's all this talent bubbling up, And once you open those floodgates, you start to see what it is. The biggest lie in the world is that talent is rare. It's not rare. It's but it's not rare. Once you open up the gates, then you see all these talented people. And you gotta see,
that's a conversation that we gotta have because we so steeped in the culture conversation right now that the industry conversation is another conversation.
Man, listen,
because Clubhouse be popping,
Yeah, it's funny. I turned my notifications off from Clubhouse about a month ago, and because I don't get notified, I haven't been on there since.
Yeah, it was a good.
So I know it's popping.
I'm not on there like that, but
it started to give me anxiety every time something would.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
I have to sit this one out.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
I on there literally in about a month. I was in the middle of a bunch of stuff and I was moving, and I'm like, I can't be.
Hey,
too.
You have to be able to. Like, if that's not for you, put it over there.
Yeah, I'll step back, and occasionally somebody will ask me if I'm enjoying something.
Yeah,
I do.
I'm not on there daily.
Yeah,
I pop in maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah,
and then from time to time I'll do a club in my Madism Cypher Club. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Right. But I did a room. I did a room. KRS versus Kane. Right.
Ooh, nice. I missed that.
But it wasn't a real versus. It was more of a celebration. So
of course,
it wasn't. It was
real versus. I mean, you saw
right.
that in F.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So the conversation was going. It was a beautiful conversation. It was dope. It was really, really dope. Very positive. Very.
Yeah.
So then Dante Ross gets on the conversation, right? And he says some dope things.
Yeah.
Right. But then he says something. Somebody had said something about their favorite rapper, and the person didn't sell no records. So he was like, "Who's that? You can't say so and so shit." He basically equated success, with selling records, right? And then it dawned on me later that, dude, you signed Brand Nubian.
I'm like, how dare you when you know Pooh Bah's one of the greatest?
You know Pooh Bah's one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, how dare you?
And you know the impact of that album that like is not predicated on record sales. Like, how dare you? Right. So now, that's that thing where,
and it's weird because I wouldn't even think he really believed that because he was such an arbiter of underground, true school stuff. But whatever. I don't know what the content, the full content.
But it's the larger conversation is that we mistake the industry for the culture, right?
Always, yeah. Listen, man. When the money came, it changed. It shifted people's perspective, and. I remember the moment that it became like you got to get somebody to sing on the hook. I remember the moment like when it was like you got to, success came. There's a point when it's subculture. Let's just talk about the music for a second, right? And you said there's a point where the music is subculture, and when the music is subculture, the worst thing you could do is copy somebody else. I remember there would be wars. You remember when Heavy D and Rakim both used the James Brown sample, and it was like, he's biting. Who bit first? Who did it first? Who did that? It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool, man. It wasn't cool. And, you go back to the 80s, and I'd say 80% of the rhymes was about don't bite.
That's right.
This is Ace's first verse on Symphony. You know what I'm saying? Never will I condone biting in any form. Like it was
Rakim, ain't no biting allowed. Don't bite my style.
So it was such an emphasis on uniqueness. What are you adding to the culture? Right? What are you bringing to the party? Right? Forget about. You can't do that. I did that already. What are you adding to this? These are the things that cause battles. And the battle between L and Mo D came because L said he was the greatest rapper in the history of rap itself, and Mo said, "What? How dare you? You are new. You wouldn't even rhyme like that if it wasn't for me." And like these are what caused these battles. And so then
real.
But when the money came, man, when it started to be like, oh, I can put a singer on the hook and, Bugsy will play me and I can get real money. People started changing, people started shifting. And, I want everybody to be wealthy and I want everybody to be successful. But that's when the metric changed. And, this is, we're bouncing around here, but I'll say this is difficulty when judging Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z is arguably the most, consistently successful MC, right? Eras after eras, right? And you say, well, is he considered one of the greats because he's one of the greats? Or is he considered one of the greats because he made the most money? Is he considered one of the greats because whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I personally think that Jay-Z is one of the illest MCs, and so I give him his props. Mm-hmm. But I understand the difficulty in judging someone that's that successful. It's hard to it's so easy to root for the underdog. It's so easy to root for the person that's not that successful because the money clouds and confuses what it is. I will debate anybody that says that there are 3 people better than KRS-One. I'll debate anybody that says there's 3 people in this world better than Pharoah Monch. You know what I mean? Like, really? Like, Pharoah Monch never had a gold record. Okay? Who's better than Pharoah Monch? Like, seriously. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you can't say it's not when Vanilla Ice sold 10 million. Like, you can't say that it's about simply about that. It's the same in pop music. It's what, you know, like, I can give you somebody that can sell you be like, yo, that's the illest record I've ever heard. Like, you know, it's about what moves you. Mm-hmm. And once the fan base starts following what your first week was, when that whole game was around,
that shit was hard. That shit was when that shit happened. I was like, Lord, it's over.
Then it stopped being about what you like. Mm-hmm. And it started being about this groupthink thing. And that's, you know, that ruins culture. It ruins culture because if already we're looking at the music as the culture, right? We're no longer talking about the other aspects of the culture. We're not even talking about the rules anymore, right? And now the last bastion of this culture is the music. And now the people that would culturally do really interesting things are now being guided to do things outside of their nature. I remember when everybody was, for 10 seconds, everybody was on some fists in the air, and then everybody got on some sex shit, you know what I mean? Post Snoop and them, right? They got on some sex gangster shit. It'd be the same cats that shifted. And you're like, damn, what happened? Because that when you see more money than you've ever seen before, and you come from abject poverty, it's very difficult. It's very easy to make somebody, you know, sell out. You know, when I was for motherfucking milking kids and them got Jettas, it was like the celebration of the town. They got cars. They got Volkswagen Jettas. When cats start talking about Bugatti,
Maybachs, and
I remember when I decided that I had to shift away. I thought I actually left talk. Puff was on the radio. You know, I blame Puff for a lot. So Puff was on the radio, and he was on Funkmaster Flex, and Flex was like, "Yo, man, I seen you on the Ave, Puff. You had the powder blue Bentley, man, and Halle Berry jumped in the joint, and you was looking big on the streets, blah, 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 Puff." And Puff said, "Yeah, you know, I just want all the young black kids, you know what's possible in they, you know." And I said, I remember listening to the radio. I was sitting in my, you know, whatever car I had that wasn't a Bentley. And I said,
2 words. I mean, two words. 2 words. You said 2 words.
I just said that. I said more than 2 words. This is bullshit. I said, let me tell you why this is bullshit. I think I'm talking to whoever was
this nigga.
I said,
this nigga.
Said, why? That's a great aspiration. I said, no, it's not. They said, why not? I said, because let's say you went to college and you became a doctor. You know, you did 4 years of college, 8 years residencies and all that. You became a doctor. You became an actual brain surgeon. And you were making $800,000 a year. Mm-hmm. You still can't afford a Bentley. So it's like, it's unrealistic unless you are ridiculously rich to really afford a fucking $300,000 car. Mm-hmm. So it's not something that you should make people aspire to. I'd respect you if you said, yeah, I got this shit because I'm fucking rich and I wanted to flash. Cool. Don't put it on you trying to show the black kids what they can do and what's possible, because that's never going to be their reality for 99.9999999%. And the ones that do have a rap career and can get it end up fucking broke and can't pay their fucking medical bills. And if don't get me started.
If 9 times out of 10, not everybody, 9 times out of 10, if you got that type of car, somebody's being exploited on the other end.
It has to be.
Somebody somewhere is being cheated, oppressed, disillusioned.
I always say you can't. I always say you can't be a billionaire unless somebody dies.
Like it's all right. So because we talking about like what happened, right? So we got time, right?
I mean, it's your show.
There you go. Okay, so I'm about historical context with everything. Malcolm said history is best suited to reward all research. So you need to look at the historical context. It kind of tells you where you are in the present if you look at it a certain way. Right, so I don't know if we had this discussion before about coon music, like the genre of music called coon music that was born out of the minstrel shows,
yes,
out of slavery,
yes,
and then they had a whole thing where white people were mimicking or imitating their image of black people, and then that got played out, and they needed real niggas to do it. And that's what we get going from white people doing blackface to black actors and characters and singers basically
doing blackface.
Giving white people the stereotype of black people to make money to right. So when we look at that happening, that's kind of where we are right now. But when you look at the civil rights movement, there was some things. I'm gonna give it like the nutshell. I'm not gonna give it the whole one too. But there's some things that happened in the civil rights movement where people started to wake up, right? Mm-hmm. And we heard the messaging and the music start mm-hmm. to wake up and become more inspirational, right? And Black music, for the most part, was coming out of Black independent record labels where Black people still had influence through promotions, the party scenes, the Black radio. They understood the community. They understood how to communicate with each other. They knew how to steer things. Well, that had to be broken. In '72, Clive Davis launched the Harvard Music Study to figure out how to wrestle Black music from Black people.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I
see the opportunity again now. I'm incredibly inspired. I think because what happened with the breakdown, and I know that there's a disconnect because of digital, and streaming and stuff. But what happened, and they're starting to get a hold of it again. But what happened when this, digital and then to streaming thing happened was it equalized everything for a minute, right? It allowed, like you said, the independent artists to be able to get their music up worldwide immediately, mm-hmm. right? I don't have to press CDs and ship them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do all the stuff. Mm-hmm. I can get my music to where my fans are, mm-hmm. all on the same day, mm-hmm. and it equalized things. And so it allowed people what I've seen over the last 5-7 years is I see people being more creative again. I think there's some really, I'm not talking about the stuff that's at, but I'm saying I see people making efforts to be more creative and be more, in some instances political, some instances just creative in a different way and not running after. And then it makes the coon music evident to everybody because like, oh, you still doing that? You still on that? And you start to see people catch this. So I'm hopeful. The kids are all right, as I like to say. I'm hopeful. I see some people out there. I'm like, man, did you hear that? Oh, what did he say that? Did she? Yeah. Oh man, she's killing it. And so I think that I see loads of possibility because of technology and because these kids get the technology quicker and faster, and they understand it, they master it faster. And so a lot of the people that used to wrest control of these things can't. By the time they go get it.
Right.
It's old news.
Yeah,
and they on
it's old news. Yeah. Now, okay. So now that we'll switch gears to another conversation. The digital world, the the NFT world, crypto world, crypto art is becoming something, and figuring out ways of.
I think it is.
Yeah. Get artists getting value, getting paid. Yeah, and. It's a direct commerce. It's no you cut the middleman out, and everything is accounted for.
And you get paid off your art even after it's sold first. Time. I love it conceptually. Yeah. Yeah.
So how much do you know about it? And
I'm scratching the surface. So I have my new company, Schematics, is mm-hmm. one of the partner companies is a company called Mask, and mm-hmm. It's we do a lot of things in the virtual world around art and around preservation of items and objects. And one of our partners at Sanford Biggers was a brilliant, incredible artist. Everybody should look up one of our gems in art world, and brother from LA, lives in New York now, but he's just brilliant, professor, incredible. And so we've been really kind of studying, what does this mean? Because he's one of the cats that if he decided to do this, it would be incredible. But he's also very, reserved about, what he does, and what the intention is, and, what are the problems around NFTs and, Ethereum and, around, climate issues around it, and so he's just issues that are there. So we're studying it. We're checking out Pharaoh's, looking at NFT for his new single. We're thinking about that. We got some. We're dabbling because I want to be aware of what it is, and I want to see if it's real. I don't think by the time you hear about a get rich quick scheme, the get rich quick part of it is over. So now we have to find out if it's real, and if it actually can serve these purposes of protecting artists. And I think that's, if I could sum up my career and what my desires are, it's always in the protection of art, and it's always in the protection of genius and the protection of greatness, and to be able to allow people the space, including myself, by the way, allow people the space to authentically create and still get compensated for that if they do something great, in a real way. And that is my life's mission, in general. So,
can we talk about your relationship with Pharoah Monch? Like, how did you guys connect, and how did that relationship develop and mature?
My first connection to Pharoah was in the late 90s. It was, I knew he was one of my favorite MCs from Organized Confusion. I used to go see them playing and stuff like that. We didn't know each other personally. But, being in the culture, being around the culture, I was aware, and I knew people around him and such. My first meeting with him, I had a group, Goodfellas. They had a song called Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Sugar Honey Iced Tea blew up, and then they broke up. And so lead singer, DeLuis, man, I got him a solo deal on MCA Records. At the time, Wendy Goldstein,
hustling, boy. He was hustling.
Yeah. So Wendy Goldstein was running MCA, and she had, the Roots was there doing Things Fall Apart. Common
big shout out to Wendy.
Chocolate.
Lord.
Mos Def was up there. He hadn't done a record up for them yet because he was still on Black on Both Sides on Raucous, but he had signed a deal there. So it was like that crew, and we were all in Electric Lady at the same time, and I had DeLuis in there, and we had a song that I thought was great, and I wanted to get Mos Def on the song. And I knew Mos for years, and he was like, yeah, I do it. But Mos was like, yeah, come through, and then he drove us around for 4 hours. And I said, all right, we're never gonna get this shit done. Anybody know Pharoah Monch? And it just so happened that the producer of the record, my man Mark Hines, he said, yo, I'm tight with Renee John Sandy, who manages Pharoah.
Mark, that's my man. Mark Hines.
So we went and got Renee brought Pharoah over, and Pharoah did this, and we just instantly clicked, and we became cool at that time. Fast forward to post Simon, he's blown up, everything's cool. Lawsuit, everything's happening. He's trying to get out of his deal with Raucous. Shady's talking about signing him. This is around 2003. I'm like kind of done with what I've been doing, trying to figure out what I'm doing next. And a mutual friend of mine, Sataris, and me and Pharaoh's, she was his stylist at the time, and she was like, yo, he's ready to, move on from management. You should think about managing him. And I said, I'll take a meeting with him. I took a meeting with him, and he was like, yeah, I did this. I already did my publishing deal. What I heard was all the money's gone. So I was like, you need to get with somebody larger. So he ended up signing with Blue Williams' company,
Family
Tree. Not with Blue directly, but one of his man, Angie Geary. And I thought it was a great move for him. And I ended up moving on and doing A&R consulting for Columbia with KP. And so fast forward, he does this record and he has a bidding war for it. He wrote a song for Puff. He was doing this, and Puff wanted to sign him. Steve Rifkin wanted to sign him, and I wanted to sign him at Sony. So I brought him up there, spoke to Donnie Ienner, and we moved the building. They was gonna do it. They were like, "Let's go," and he said, "Nah, I can't sign it. I'm signing Steve Rifkin." He just didn't want to be, he didn't want to be at Sony, and he was right because literally 6 months later, Donnie Ienner got fired, and it was a whole new regime. So he ended up doing that, but we just stayed tight. And, I would go to the studio while he was making the record and hanging out with him and Sean C and all them when they was doing the Desire album. His album gets released. His album was coming out in June. In May, Rick Rubin comes, cuts all the Sony staff out. Rick Rubin takes over Sony or Columbia. We all out. Happiest day of my life because it was the biggest payout I ever seen. But so I had nothing to do.
Damn, Patty, who did your deal? Who did your deal? You share your attorney.
Oh yeah, Kervin Sims. So
there you go. Big shout out to Kervin.
I had a huge check and nothing to do. Monty drops a record and he's getting ready to go on tour. He's going to Europe and then he's going to do Rock the Bells. And so I said, fuck it. Give me the list of where you're going to be. I want to go. I had never been to a bunch of places he was going to go in Europe. So I just bought a plane ticket to everywhere he was going to go, just so I could see it. So this was 2007, and it was the first Wu-Tang reunion after Old Dirty passed, right? So they did the Montreux Jazz Festival, and Pharoah opened for them. And so I went there, and I went to London, and then I came back.
Was that your first trip to London, by the way?
No, my first trip to London was with Shaheem.
Okay, because I remember your other story. You were supposed to go to London, you didn't go.
I signed Shaheem, and we go to London.
And go to London. All right, there you go. All right.
I go to Corey Glover, and then I go to London. London became my second home.
There you go.
I told you I'd get there on my own terms. So I went to, and then he started doing Rock the Bells, and that was the Rock the Bells year that Rage Against the Machine was headlining all the major festivals. So it was Rage, Wu-Tang, Black Star, Rakim, it was huge, and Monsters on that. So and he did Coachella that year. I went to Coachella. So it was like all of these incredible shows, and I was on it. So now I'm on tour with him. I'm jumping on a tour bus, I'm hanging out. I'm literally carefree. I don't even know where I'm staying. I get there, I get a hotel room. I got to check, remember? So
that Columbia payout was crazy. Damn.
I'm balling out. I'm like, what? Yeah, what? Detroit? I see you in Detroit. I'll be there. But I'm watching what I consider to be a bunch of mistakes happening on the way I thought his business was being ran. I shouldn't say mistakes. I should say just stuff. I would do stuff differently. So I started giving advice, and I started saying, what are you doing here? And why is this not happening? But also what I could see was that the music business has shifted already, right? And so although Pharoah got this huge deal with SRC and everything like that, it wasn't going to happen like that no more, right? Steve was a relic from a different time. It's not going to happen like that no more. The business has changed. And even if you guys haven't caught up to this yet, it's going to catch up to you. And so I said to him, I said, listen, this is your last major record label deal, right? So I doubt they're going to pick up your option, because your option is going to be, $500,000 or something. They're not going to pick that up. And he said, of course they are. And I'm like, okay. Lo and behold, Steve calls, is like, so we can't pick up the option for that, but let's try to do something else. And I said, I told you. I said, now. He said, okay, how should I play it? I said, go to Steve and say, yeah, we can cut the budget in half. You got to give me half my masters back. We gotta do, if we're giving up. And Steve was like, really? Not only do I got to cut your budget, I got to 360 you. We're like, so I was like, he said, you want to manage me? I'm like, no, I will start a company with you, and let's release your records on our company instead of, getting jerked by these people that are you're never getting that deal again. Yeah. Anything you get from now on, you're going to be really.
Now, mind you, it's just the nature of the business. The technology had moved in.
That's what I just saw.
Is a bunch of things that take. I also say the 1996 Telecommunications Act had a lot to do with smashing
without
regional.
question. Without question,
Right,
Mike
right.
Powell.
So yeah, right. So there's nothing to do with how dope your favorite rapper is. There's nothing to do with that.
No. But my thing was, you shouldn't want to be under these systems anymore because you've already built your name up and your name is golden around the world. I've seen you go around the world, and who you are matters so much. And you're not capitalizing on that properly because you're too busy paying back a debt out of these old antiquated kind of deals.
Right.
It doesn't even make sense.
The model itself just doesn't make sense anymore. It just
and I'm saying to you that if you sold 100,000 records under this concept, you could sell that same 100,000 records and get 80% of the profit. Why would you, 90%? Why would you get 15% that you got to pay back to 500? It's ridiculous. And we're under a situation where you could make the record for you don't need $500,000 to make a record for you. People want to work with you. You're good. So I convinced them to give it a shot. I said, let's give it a shot, And I remember we talking to Immortal Technique and all these people that were doing these indie things. And I'm like, yo, this is the game. You built a brand that's strong enough that you don't need these people to do anything for you. You can do it yourself. And you have all the relationships. And I remember it's interesting because Dante was at SRC at one point, and we were talking about maybe doing a digital deal outside of the universal system with them. And they were like, yeah, we can do these things and maybe Red Bull could come in. And I'm like, we have all the same relationships. We don't need them. Why would we give them a piece of this? And I remember, to his credit, Steve Rifkin is a G. He said, you're absolutely right. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? He said, you're absolutely right. I said, yo, just let us out of the deal so we can go see what's out there. He said, get him out the deal. He wasn't an ass about it at all.
That's fair. Good.
He's
Big
like,
up Steve Rifkin.
I'm under. And he loved Pharoah. He still loves him to this day. And loved that album. And Dante was a gem. These guys were not the evil empire. They just worked for the evil empire.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Pharoah Monch again is, one of the greats.
And so we sat down at that point and we said, okay, what are we gonna do? So immediately I'm like, let's set your touring up. Let's make sure that base is correct. So we went to Australia. We went and started going around the world, and we started, at the Rock the Bells, he was touring with a band. I'm like, stop touring with a band. It's stop spending all your money. You don't have tour support.
Right. Yeah, right.
Get your DJ, take your singers, let's go. And let's go tour the world. And we hit it. And from that moment, we that's when I said I spent 4 years on the road. Seriously, I was on the road more than I was out. And then let's make this record, man. And let's call in the favors, and let's find the producers that really want to work with you and that you really want to work with. And let's find the artists that you want to collaborate with. And you go back and let's check that War album. Right? We got Idris Elba does the intro. We got the Immortal Technique on there. We got Vernon Reed on there. We have Royce the 5'9". We have Gene Gray. We have Styles P. We have Fonte. We have Jill Scott. We have Citizen Cope. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we made that album for 30 grand maybe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, everybody was like, yeah, we'll do that shit for you. You Pharoah Monch.
Pharoah Monch, B.
Yeah, I want to be on a record with you. Denon Porter's on there. Diamond D produced on there. I can. It's such an expensive record on SRC, but your name is value.
Your name is value. Yeah.
And everybody wants a verse from you, so you can barter.
Barter.
And I remember Jill was a G about it. Jill said, "Yeah, I would love to do this song. I love the song. I think it's amazing. It's great." And then she said to me, "Y'all putting this out yourself?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Don't worry about it. We good." She said, I endorse. I want you to be indie. I want you to do your thing. And we ended up selling more records than he sold on SRC, and got back on the road and did everything and blew, and then that led to, doing a joint with Robert Glasper for the Don Cheadle movie. Got a Grammy for that. Then we did the PTSD album, and so we created the opportunity for him to be able to continue to be an entity well beyond the shelf life that the music business says you should be. So technically, Pharoah Monch should be out of the game, or he should be just old school and not doing new music that's relevant. and but he still rhyme better than your favorite rapper, and your favorite rapper loves him, and so why should he be irrelevant? So we went and found where in the world where people liked us, and now it's finally come back around, you know, via the Black Thoughts and all of that stuff. Then now people are like, no, rappers don't age out, you know what I'm saying? So now cats are like, yeah, Royce the 5'9" and you know, because you know, but it when Monch was doing, you know, cats was looking at him like he was crazy.
You know, I know. You know, I know. But
yeah, so now we're at the point where people realize that, you know, that music is music, and it's dope or it's not, man, and that's what it is. And yes, the numbers aren't gonna be, you know, we ain't gonna do, you know, what Little Yachty and them doing, but you know what, you never did, because you was never that kind of artist. You was never that kind of artist that was gonna do 10 million records. You just wasn't.
Yeah, but and hey, here we go.
That's what I was reminding him. I said, you chose the path.
Hold on a second, baby. I'm sorry, guy. My wife just walked in. She handed me the utilities.
Okay.
But hold on 1 second. Hold on. Jazz.
Shout out to Jazz.
Some juice. Thank you. I need some sugar right now. I'm you know.
I'm sorry. We going long. I know we going long.
Nah, bro. I got a lot to say. We ain't going nowhere. I'll just drink some juice and get a little pep in my step. But so going independent.
Yep.
You know, you still have to. It takes a team.
Yeah.
It takes a team.
Yeah.
It takes a squad, right? So when you say we, who's the we in War Media?
Initially, it started with me and Monch, and we our first album, War, we did a joint venture partnership with Duck Down, because you know, when I was at Sony, I tried to sign Pharaoh, and I tried to sign Sean Price, and when I was trying to sign Sean Price, I got cool with Drew Ha.
What year was this?
2005.
All right. So just for all you folks, you know, rest in peace, Sean.
Yep.
P.
Sean P.
Fucking legend. And of course, we know him from Helter Skelter and OGC.
Yep.
But people were sleeping on him for a long time.
Yes.
Not you, though.
Nah.
Talk about it.
I had heard Sean is interesting. One time I was up late with my boy. We was in a car listening to DJ Clue. And Clue. And Buckshot was up there. He was freestyling because he had a record coming out the next day. And Sean was with him. And I hadn't heard from Sean since Helter Skelter days. I'm like, oh, Sean Price Day. You know, so Sean was up there just in the background talking. And then in the middle of their interview, Joe Budden comes in. And Joe comes in and basically stops their interview to play this new record that he wanted to play. And you could feel the tension in the room, right? It was like, so, you know, Clue was like, okay, everybody here, let's rhyme. And then Sean steps up to the mic and he's rhyming, boom. And then Joe rhymes, and then Sean rhymes, and he's blasting. And Joe goes, calm down, homie. You know, you a legend. And Sean was like, I'm nothing, go. And turned this into, and Joe talk about it, because he bodied everything smoking up there. And I was listening to this real time, and I was like, find me Sean. Where is Sean Price? I need that.
Mm-hmm.
I need that. Because he bodied, he was just up there. He was rhyming like he was 17, and it was his, you know, he had just seen LL Cool J or something, right? So it was just amazing. And so I tried to, you know, and Drew was like, they ain't never gonna sign Sean Price up here, guys. You know, he was giving me this is over. And I said, I'm gonna try to give it a shot. And then I tried, they were like, we don't get it. So, you know, it was like, and it was the same company. I had an artist, God rest his dead, King Rain from Toronto. Brilliant artist. And they would tell me in the meetings that they'll never accept a rapper from Canada. I had real rap.
Jokes on them.
I had Drake on one of the songs.
Oh.
I had Socrates, Rain, and Drake on a song that they're telling me a Canadian rapper will never be successful. So anyway, that's why I knew the major label shit was bullshit. That's why I was like, y'all don't know what y'all talking. Yeah, I have absolutely no fucking idea what you're talking about. You know, they say you should say he's from Brooklyn. He got cousins in Brooklyn. You should say he's from Brooklyn. I said, yo, where I come from, hip hop, you can't be fraudulent. And the minute they find out he's from Toronto, he's gonna be over. No, he has to say he's from Toronto. That's where he's from, specifically from Scarborough. We have to be
again. The industry is not the culture. The culture
and I
is
always
not
the,
the industry.
I always follow the rules, man.
You know what I mean? Like when you're dealing with the industry, it's about a formula. Because they don't know what the fuck is going on. So what they do, they need to steal the formula. Like some people cook by taste. We know what it's supposed to taste like. So we don't need the motherfucking recipe because I know what the fuck I'm doing, my nigga. I don't need it. When you don't know what the fuck you doing, you need somebody to write that shit down and give it to you. But you don't know what it's supposed to taste like. So when you hear it, be shit missing from the phone. Like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck? Why's raisins in my shit, yo? Who the fuck put raisins in my goddamn music, yo?
And it's so what it is. It's like, you know, if you look back when Jizzle was the genius and he was doing Come Do Me and them records, whatever, and you know, they were trying to make him into Big Daddy Kane, and you know, and then when they finally got and he said, no, let me get to my authentic self, then that's when they blew up. And I just
these motherfuckers.
So
hold on. You understand, nigga? Again, when you grew up in the New York City metropolitan area, and I know karate movies, kung fu movies is big everywhere. I know. But in the 80s, niggas would go to 42nd Street. I wasn't old enough. I couldn't do that shit. But niggas would go to and just sit in karate movies, all motherfucker cut school to go to 42nd Street and look at karate movies, B. Right? Now you got a mother. We gonna take karate movie samples, swore shing shing and put that shit and rap on it. And you niggas at a record label ain't gonna get some white boys or some black dude from the Midwest with a college degree in music ain't gonna understand that shit. Somebody that's looking at Billboard for what's going on, you're looking at the charts. If it's not the trades, hold on. It's another thing we have to talk about, guy. Because
they said, you know, who's your A&R? A mountain climber?
But all right, so I'm way off on a tangent, but you'll understand what I'm talking about because you're from New York. You're from New York City, and though you were signed to Virgin, which is a major label, you understand the independent game, right? Right.
Yeah, you know.
So the independent game in the late 80s, right? You had these record pool events, right? Where all the DJs would come and you have the local talent that's trying to break a record would come perform.
Yeah, remember, I come from First Priority. That's my camp. Yeah.
Right. Now, who's at these record pool parties? You got DJs, you have promoters, and you have representatives from the distro, from the mom and pop distro. That's the distribute. These are the people who make sure your records get the one stop. Thank you. That's one stop distribute. These are the people who make sure you got the plant. They take the record from the plant and then they get it to Sam Goody, Coconuts, whatever. That's how music was pushed. If the distributors for whatever reason wasn't feeling the artist,
your records in the back of the store underneath something. Yeah,
it's over. Like
so
you go and you do these performances. Yeah, for the folks out there in Queens and East New York, Coney Island, and so there's a certain group of people who kind of control that whole flow.
Right.
The real gangsters.
The real gangsters. Hold on one second.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm back. Had something in my eye. All right.
The real gangsters.
Yep.
All right. Again, if they not feeling you, they're not.
You over.
You over. Now for a group like the Wu-Tang Clan to do what the fuck they did.
That was power. You got to understand that. for that to come out through Rifkin, who was one of those gangsters, you know what I mean? And you know, who was the street team promotion king. You know, it was a perfect marriage. He's the only one that could have done it, to be honest with you.
Man.
You know, that's what that was. That was, you know, Rifkin understood what he had, and Rifkin wasn't afraid. He's an unsung hero of that kind of shit, you know.
Yeah, talk about it. Let's give Steve Rifkin his just due, because not only Wu-Tang, there's a lot of things that came through Loud Records that Rifkin was a machine.
Would take artists that nobody else would see, Mobb Deep or Big Pun, you know, Dead Prez. Who would put a Dead Prez record out of Steve Rifkin, you know?
No, yeah, that was him signing Dead Prez was tremendous.
Yeah, so it's he's and because he had a promotions team, you know, and he was doing all of the street promotion anyway, you know. He was able to, man, I don't know what happened to my eyes. Excuse me. It's almost like somebody hit me with it's almost like I smoked some of your stuff. Yeah, so Rifkin is special. I mean, he's still special. You know, I didn't realize Rifkin was managing DMX at the last few years.
Wow. Yeah. And
so I mean, you know, he's trusted and honored in the culture. You know, and he was a fighter for his artists. You know, he was a fighter for their placement and where they should be. And they made, you know, him and Scott Free,
Maddie, yeah. Big shout out to them.
Wonderful, you know, Scott. You know Scott from Staten Island. So
yeah. Oh, I didn't know Scott was from Staten Island.
Yeah, that came up with us. That's how.
Get the fuck out of here! I thought he was Brooklyn from day one.
Staten Island all day. Went to Staten Island Academy High School.
Oh, big shout out to Scott Free, my guy.
I know Scott since we kids, man. You know.
Man, he's a good dude. Him and Maddie C, very good people. Yeah, man. So before I let you go,
yes, I don't know, lots and lots. So we
go forever. We'll definitely do a part 2. But I just need you I need you to let the people know what kind of glasses are you wearing right now, brother. Let them know.
Ultra Goliaths. All right. And a lot of people confuse these with gazelles, and a lot of people thought that DMC from the legendary Run DMC wore gazelles, but he wore Ultra Goliath frames. And these are Ultra Goliath. These are matte. DMC wore gloss ones, but these are matte. And these are also the joints that De Niro wore in Casino. Sam Rothstein. So I call them the Sam Rothstein joints.
The Sam Rothstein. And why you wear those glasses?
So I can see.
Huh.
And you know, when I first used to wear these, it was because I like the style. Now I wear them so I can see.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I know what it is. Trust me.
The fortunate and unfortunate parts of it. I'm glad to be here, but you know, I need some help.
Yeah, you know, so it's all good. You know, they say the riddle about the three-legged man, or it's we come into the world on 4s, then we go to 2, and then we go to 3.
With the cane.
The cane. But the cane is symbolic for wisdom.
There it is.
Yeah, man.
Good place.
My guy. Yes, sir. Y'all, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for spending this time with me, bro.
Thank you, Hawk. I hope you got something, you know, because I know we was all over the place. It wasn't linear, but the real gem is that we still here. We still kicking it. We still friends. There's some platinums in the beard, but you know, we still here. You know,
well, you know, I kind of keep mine low.
Well, you and I, I'm still behind the scenes. You know, and
nah, man.
Thank you. I got a young wife, so you know.
Yeah. Hey, yo, and salute to that. This young man got married in the last. It's been a year. 2019. Yeah, man, doing big things, bro.
And to the love of my life, and the reason I feel like I'm starting over.
Yeah, congratulations and salute to y'all.
I got so much more to do, you know?
That's right. And salute to y'all. Congratulations. Guy Routte, thank you for spending time with us, bro. This is Hakeem Green.
Channel live.
That's right. Live and direct. All we do is spark.
didn't you just drop the cipher, or you dropping it, or
I dropped the cipher, yeah, featuring KRS-One. Go get it right now.
Crazy.
Thank you. Produced by Ron Lawrence. I'm in Ron Lawrence
from the Hitmen.
The Hitmen, you know, they're trying to do big things. Go cop that. It's on Apple, Amazon, all that. It's up.
Or drop, get that record, the cipher with Hakeem Green and KRS-One. KRS-One is in rare form on that record. He's like, if KRS-One isn't in your top 10, top 5, you don't know. Let's not even talk about hip hop.
Don't nobody want it from that man. Yo. Listen, nobody, B.
Talk about verses. I wouldn't want it.
Yeah. Yo, we out of here, yo.
Peace. Peace. Talk to you soon, baby. Love you.
Love you too, bro. One.
Bye. Peace.